Ladies and gents, how you doing? It's great to be back, isn't it? Unfortunately, we're going to have to veer off from the path that we were on, where I was spreading good-natured, humorous stories about Indian chefs wiping the ring pieces with their index fingers and then kneading you a naan bread. So we're going to have to go back to something serious today, unfortunately. Alas, I cannot help it. World affairs are beyond my control. So unfortunately, it's time to make you all miserable again, isn't it? Breaking news from Sky today. 2 women die whilst trying to cross the channel in a small boat. Now, the headline there sounds grim, doesn't it? You would assume that they drowned, they just fell overboard, and it's just one of those tragic things. But as we're about to see shortly when I read you the whole thing and do a little bit of digging, that headline is extremely misleading because they didn't fall off the boat. Something happened to them while they were on the boat. And as we all know what the inhabitants of the boats look like, because we've all seen hundreds and hundreds of pictures of them, and in those hundreds and hundreds of pictures, you just see thousands and thousands of men. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out what happened here, do you? I'll give you a clue. That headline should say, breaking, 2 women get banged more than Stevie Wonder's big toe and then threw over the side, covered in spunk. Okay, not really a headline for levity, is it? But we do gallows humour on this channel. It's what everybody needs in this day and age. There's nothing funny anymore. If you look outside your window, the merest glance and the chaos outside of the average British household, nothing's funny. So you've just got to take what you can get and wring some gallows humour out the fact that it seems like the main reason there's never any women on these boats is probably because the women know what'll happen to them if they're daft enough to get on them. Right, here's the full thing from Sky News. Yeah, shocking display on X. Don't want to give you the facts, do they? They didn't fall off the boat. Their corpses were found on it. The actual story in full says that a 16-year-old girl, what was she thinking? What's a 16-year-old thinking? Getting on a boat with 80 blokes. That is a terrible, especially third world blokes. And a woman died whilst trying to cross the English Channel from France in a small boat. It was carrying around 82 people and ran aground on a beach. Yeah, not that dangerous running aground on a beach, is it? How's that going to kill you? Boats don't do 200 miles an hour. If you were doing 200 miles an hour and you hit a beach, yeah, it'd fling you 90 foot and it'd probably kill you. But boats, well, the reason they measure speed of boats in knots is because they're not as fast as CBR 900 Fireblades. So not really a big deal if you run aground in a dinghy, is it? Well, not really a big deal if you run aground and you just fall off the boat, but it is a big deal if 28 Sudanese men kick 10 bells of shite out of you and then run a train on you before tearing you limb from limb and then getting off onto a different boat and saying, nothing to do with me, lads. I'm just after a council house in Slough. Boats are dangerous. Yeah, sometimes they jizz all over you. 3 other passengers are reported to be in a critical condition. How did that happen? And Utopia 56, a French organisation for refugees, said the victims who lost their lives were a 16-year-old girl and a 20-year-old woman. So, yeah, there you go. 2 young women, a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old, are the only 2 people who lost their lives on a boat. And do I need to demonstrate? I suppose I will, if you don't get out very much and you don't read the newspapers or watch social media or do anything other than sit in a cellar with a bin liner over your head. Maybe you don't know what the average small boat looks like. I'll just use Google Images to throw you a few up. Here's one from The Guardian. Yeah, that well-known bastion of right-wing hate. And there's a boat. Yeah, there's just your average boat. Well, let's have a count, shall we? Hairy-ass man, hairy-ass man, hairy-ass man, hairy-ass man, hairy-ass man, hairy-ass man. In fact, are there any women on that boat? Doesn't look like it, does it? Not a single one. That's what your average small boat looks like. Maybe it's an anomaly. Any more? There's one from the BBC. That appears to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 hairy-ass men. Very odd. We'll do one more. Here's another one from Sky News. Migrant crossings. 80,000 crossed into the UK. Brilliant. What's the picture of? Oh, look. Bloke. There's no women on them. is there? There's no women on them. Point proven. So, clearly the reason you don't see any women on them is because any woman who's remotely savvy doesn't go anywhere near a boat, because even though there's a reward, which is get a free council house and spend the next 80 years of your life as a parasite leeching off the good nature of the English people, they know that the risk's quite high, don't they? And when stories like this get spread about, because the migrants will know what's going on, the gossip will get around. There'll be some rare man on one of those boats from Sudan or Eritrea or whatever. There'll be at least one or two of them who have something like a moral compass, and they'll tell the mates, and that story will get out. And this is why you never see women and children on these boats, because the 16 and the 20-year-old women know for a fact that if they're daft enough to get on one of these boats, they're going to, at best, get off in Dover with a very, very sore fanny. And at worst, they won't get off the boat, which is, incidentally, another reason why I support the reintroduction of capital punishment, because everybody knows if you commit a small crime, or a relatively small crime, like theft or something along these lines, the victims go and tell people, so very nefarious men think, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I've robbed, stole, embezzled, or surprise sexed. I might as well just shuffle them off the mortal coil while I'm at it. So that's what's happened here. I guarantee it. Anyway, story, it says the two birds who died were of Sudanese origin, according to the Secretary General of the Calais Prefecture, Christopher Marks. He said they were believed to have been in the 20s. He's aptly named, isn't he? Bloke who runs Calais, named after Marks. Suits him that. And he said the investigation and interviews that will take place, nobody cares. This story will disappear in 2 hours. But he did say, and this is the point I made in the first place, the women were found brown bread inside the boat. They didn't fall off it. They didn't drown. Two healthy 16 and 20-year-olds just randomly expired on a boat. And the story ends on a high note. 17 were rescued at sea, and there were 65 still on board, and they all got took back to France, so they'll turn up tomorrow, because 325 migrants arrived in the UK in 6 boats on Saturday, and none of them are vetted, and presumably some of them will do the type of things they did to those young lasses in a boat off the coast of France. They'll do those type of things in a council house or above a kebab shop in a leafy shire in England, Scotland or Wales. Or maybe Northern Ireland. Maybe they'll get on a boat from Liverpool to Northern Ireland and they'll do a bit of jizzing on the way over there as well. Who knows? So there you go. Worst headline of social media for the day. The boats are visibly, obviously, 99% men. Everybody knows it. So that headline should indeed read, 2 women get the good news, covered in baby batter and flung in the sea. All right. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, if you're not paying attention, you should be. And if you are paying attention, I suggest you avoid the coastline. Get the wife and kids CS gas spray for the Christmas box. And treat your granny to a pair of cast iron knickers, because she's going to need them. All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you all later on. Toodle pip. Cheers.